Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is everybody doing today? We are live. Welcome to Shine with Andrea. I am your host, Andrea Harrison, the Chief Shine Officer and Show Up Strategist. And today, what do we do when we're here? We read our book, 100 Days of Believing Bigger, 100 Days of Believing Bigger. And today we are on day 38. Day 38. This book is written by Marshawn Evans Daniels. And this book is transformational. If you don't already have this book, 100 Days of Believing Bigger, you really need to get this book, seriously. I don't even know how you are able to live life without this book. Like for real, this book, 100 Days of Believing Bigger, is incredible. So we're on day 38 today. And the topic is embracing process. And so I love reading this devotional because I don't know how it's possible, but every single time we read this, every day that we read this, it's like it is exactly what we need in that moment. Exactly what we need in that moment for that day. And so I don't know where you are in your life. I don't know what it is that you have got going on right now, but my prayer is that as I read it, Lord, I ask you that you would give me the words to speak. As it says in Psalms 81:10, when we open our mouth, you will fill it with good things. And I ask you that you would fill my mouth with good things for your people today. I thank you, Lord. Give us exactly what we need. Everybody's going through something. Everybody is going through something. I've got my own stuff going on. In fact, I got a call at 2:00 in the morning from my mother in the hospital. She was crying. She was in pain. And she needed help. And for some reason, she wasn't getting it. We had to call. We worked things out. She's okay now. But as we've been talking about, it's being in your coming out of your comfort zone and then trying to get to the glory zone and having to fight through that war zone before you get there. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. But we have to learn to embrace the process. We must learn to embrace the process. And we have to know that God is with us. What did he say back in, let's go back to day 36 when we talked about navigating transition. The verse was Psalm 32:8. I will teach you and tell you the way to go and how to get there. I will give you good counsel and I will watch over you. These are his promises. These are God's promises for us. Disruption, that's the chapter we're in. Birthing bigger was yesterday. And it was Jeremiah 29:11. Most of us love Jeremiah 29:11. We know it well. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. Good morning, Miss Dianette. Good morning, Dr. Lynn. Good morning, Misha. Good morning, Roxanne. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Latera. Good morning, Jay. Good morning. Good morning, Tara. Good morning, Farah. I know you're watching. So that was yesterday, and today is embracing process. And the verse is 1 Peter 1:7. These trials will show you that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold. Though your faith is far more precious than mere gold. So when your faith remains strong through many trials, it will bring you much praise and glory and honor on the day when Jesus Christ is revealed to the whole world. One of the things that I wrote on this, whenever it was, let's see, June 24th, 2024, when I read this last year, we have to be obedient in the wilderness or else we'll stay there longer. I don't want to stay in the wilderness any longer. I am so done with the wilderness. Good morning, Miss LaTanya. Welcome. Hey, Miss Vanessa. I'm so done with the wilderness. I don't want to stay here any longer. I want to be done with this phase. I need to be obedient, and I need to embrace the process of where God is taking me, what he's taking me through, and all the stuff that come along with it. So let's get to reading this. Again, this is day 38. Alignment with God's will is necessary for our divine assignment. Disruption gives us a chance to get an overdue adjustment while God brings all the skewed parts of our life into proper, powerful, and purpose-ready order. Alignment with God's will is necessary for our divine assignment. Remember, there's purpose in the disruption. There's purpose in the disruption. Disruption gives us a chance to get an overdue adjustment while God brings all the skewed parts of our life into proper, powerful, and purpose-ready order. Think of it like going to the chiropractor. It's about getting aligned the way it's supposed to be. In the middle of the discomfort, it's important to remember that higher purpose is always on the other side of process. Let me read that again. It says, in the middle of the discomfort, it's important to remember that higher purpose is always on the other side of process. God sends his promise by way of a process. Good morning, Miss Anna. God sends his promise by way of a process, which is why we miss it. Because we don't want to go through the process. We don't want to go through the process. It's too hard. It's too much. It's too draining. It's too uncomfortable. Good morning, Miss Roxy. It's too much. We don't want to go through the process. But that's where God sends his promise by way of a process, which is why we miss it. We think it is going to fall out of the sky like manna from heaven. But navigating the gap, the zone of growth, transition, and divine reinvention is where we must go to enter our promised land. Good morning, Miss Aniela. Did y'all hear that? God sends his promise by way of a process. God sends his promise by way of a process. And that's exactly why we miss it. We think it is going to fall out of the sky like manna from heaven. But guess what? Navigating the gap, the zone of growth, transition, and divine reinvention is where we must go to enter our promised land. Our purpose, more provision, more healing, and even more miracles are all on the other side of this process. The gap is your wilderness between Egypt, what you've known, and the promised land, what you've been praying for and destined for. What have you been praying for? What have you been praying for? What have you been waiting on God to do? The gap is the wilderness between Egypt, what you've known, and the promised land, what you've been praying for and what you are destined for. What we're moving toward is not necessarily a big house, more money, less stress, or better relationships, although I have no doubt that everything is better on the other side of surrender. God doesn't leave our heart's desires behind as he ushers us into our destiny. But this isn't about stuff. It's about exchanging your current plans for the life God is calling you toward. Do we really want to exchange our current plans for the life that God is calling us towards, especially when we don't know what his plans are? We can't see it. We don't know if our prayers have been answered. Do we really want to let go? Are we really in a position to want to let go? Remember, I think it was yesterday, when it talked about, let's see, was it yesterday or the day before? Yeah, it was yesterday when we talked about how God is intentionally moving us from the womb to the birth canal, and it may be tight, dark, and uncomfortable, moving you from the womb to the birth canal, but you can't stay in the incubator forever. We have to embrace the shift because the best is on the other side of birth. God doesn't leave our heart's desires behind as he ushers us into our destiny. But this isn't about stuff. It's about exchanging your current plans, giving up your will and surrendering to his will for the life God is calling you toward. We got to leave some stuff behind. We can't take it with us. We can't take everybody with us either. Everybody's not ready to go where God is taking you. It's about getting to where God needs you to accomplish something new that heaven is seeking to do. That is our purpose. That is our purpose. Getting to where God needs you to accomplish something new that heaven is seeking to do. And we have to be obedient in the wilderness, or else we will stay there longer. What are some things God is asking you to release? What are some things God is asking you to unlearn? What are some things that God is asking you to do so that you are ready for your promised land? We're so used to doing things our way, and we're so used to doing things the way that they've always been done, that when we get to a point where it's like we're ready to go to the next level, we're ready, we're graduating from one class to the next, we're ready for a new assignment, we don't want to let go of the past. We don't want to let go of the way things were done. We don't want to let go of the way we've always done things. We've gotten comfortable. We're content with where we are, and we don't want to move out of here because we don't know what's in the future. God does, but we don't know what's in the future. Good morning, Miss Jocelyn. Good morning, Jamel. Good morning, Miss Nisi. Hello, Miss Latrell, Brown, Momo, Constance. Good morning. Good morning, Mocha Goddess. Good morning, Miss Lisa. We don't want to leave where we are, but at the same time, we don't want to stay here either. Am I the only one? Come on, y'all. I know I'm not the only one. We're comfortable where we are. We don't know what's ahead. And it's like we do want to leave, but we're like, well, I don't know what's up ahead. I'm not sure. I don't know what the plans are. I don't know where I'm going to be, where I'm going to stay. I don't know how it's going to work out. Is it a job up ahead? Is there a business up ahead? I don't know what's in front of me. And sometimes it's the future is uncertain, right? And we're tired of where we're at. Hey, Dr. Stevie, we're tired of where we're at. We don't want to be in this place any longer. But do we really believe that we are worthy to go someplace else? Do we really believe that we are worthy that God is really going to do what he said he's going to do? Do we really believe that things are going to change? Because if we believe that things were going to change, we would be moving. We would be packing our stuff and we would be sitting at the door with holding our bags, ready for when he says go. When he says move, and we move just like that. But we're not. We're not. We're sitting here. We're worried about tomorrow when God said, I will take care of tomorrow. He says, tomorrow is already taken care of. I've already got tomorrow. You can live because I've already taken care of tomorrow. Alignment with God's will is necessary for our divine assignment. When I started reading this devotion for the first time back in June 2023, the first step I had to take was to be obedient. That was the first step. The first step I had to take was to be obedient. I didn't want to do it. I was scared. I didn't think that I could do it. I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I had anything to say. All those things. You guys have heard this story a million times. But once I took that first step of obedience, transformation came. It didn't just happen like that, but moving through the process, embracing the process, navigating transition, all of these things. The transformation came. I started to see how my life started to change. Yes, the first step of the shine effect. Right? I started to see how my life started to change, how it started to transform, and how my life was impacting the lives of so many others. And then their lives were impacting the lives of others as well. And everywhere you look, somebody is doing something because they saw somebody else do it, and that gave them permission to step up to the plate, show up and shine. And it took just saying yes. It took being obedient. And that's what brought on the transformation. Once I said yes and my life started to transform, and I allowed God to do what he wanted to do in me and allowed him to use me the way he wanted to use me, that's when my life became aligned with his will. And as this says, it is necessary for our divine assignment. And I'm still in class. I've graduated a couple of grades, but I'm still in class. And sometimes we don't want to leave one grade and go to the next. We don't want to, because, like I said, I think I said it yesterday, actually. We're going to get a new teacher. We're going to get a new situation, new classroom. There's going to be new people. We got to leave some other people behind, or they're going to another class and we're going to this class. And so now it's like we got to learn a new subject. We have to do so many different things. Jay says, thanks for taking that step, because we are out here making an impact for Christ because of you, with 3 flashlights. But it wasn't easy. Thank you, Jay. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. But if you can see that God's already there, he's already in the future, right, Mike? He's already in the future. He's already there. He's already there. And all he's saying is, trust me. I got you. I got this. I know you're worried about this new place. I know you're worried about this new space. I know you're worried about what's going on right now and how things are going to change. And my gosh, how are you going to get from one place to the other? How are you going to get there? And God says, I got you. Just trust me. Just trust me. Tara says it's like transition from junior high to high school. All new people, all new teachers. We have to mature and grow into this next grade level. It's scary and it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. So we really have to sit back and say, what are some of the things that God is asking us to release? What is he asking us to release? Well, we know he's asking us to release fear, and so we can trust him. We have to have faith. Faith and fear can't live in the same place, right? So we know he's asking us to release fear. What else is he asking you to release? Aniela, what is he asking you to release? Roxy, what is he asking you to release? Jocelyn, what is he asking you to release? He wants us to release some things. We can't take it with us to the next level. He wants us to unlearn some stuff. Jay, Stevie, what is he asking you to unlearn? That's a hard thing. Once you've learned something, to go back and unlearn it, that's not easy. But this journey requires it. We got to release control. We can't be in control of everything. Tara says, I got to release fear, doubt, low self-esteem, poverty mindset. Stevie said he's asking me to unlearn who I was before my trauma happened. Roxy says, God has asked me to release fear, getting out of my own way. We are all in our own way at some point or time, right? But guess what? DNS says the imposter syndrome. I listened to something recently, and it was so on point for me. For me, it may not be for everybody, but it was on point for me when it talked about the imposter syndrome. I think I had this conversation with Dr. Lynn, and she agreed with me, and then she had a different perspective on it as well, and she was right. So it either works. This is either going to resonate with you or not. But when it comes to the imposter syndrome, one of the things I heard that resonated with me is that we tell ourselves what we're not good at, how we don't belong at the table, how we don't belong on the call, how we don't belong in the room. Shout out to my girl, Lisa Medley. We tell ourselves all of that. We're not enough. All the things that I told you, I told myself, right? When God wanted me to be obedient with this assignment. We tell ourselves all these things. But guess what? If somebody else said those things to you, would you accept them? If somebody came to you, Jamel, somebody came to you, Aniela, somebody came to you, Tara, to you, Jay. If somebody came to you and said, you are not enough, you can't do this, you can't go live. You think you could go live every day for 2 years? You can't do it. Who do you think you are? You're not good enough to read somebody's devotion. You can't do it, right? Stevie said we would be ready to squabble up. Hello. If somebody told you you couldn't do it for all those reasons that you tell yourself, some of us may believe it. Some of us may be in a point, as a place in our lives that we're not there yet. And so this is why the work that I do with showing up and shining is so important to me. And I believe that it is so important to God's heart, is because I want women to know that it doesn't matter what people have said to you before. It doesn't matter what they've said to you, what they've told you you can't do. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. And he'll give you everything that you need. He'll tell you where to go, how to get there, and he'll give you wise counsel. Right? So when it comes to the imposter syndrome, all those things we tell ourselves, if somebody else told it to us, what would you do? What would you do? Dr. Lynn said, I need to release fear, doubt, control, emotional mismanagement. Anyala says, I need to release fear and doubt. Jocelyn said, wow, speak, Lord. Hey, Vicky. What is God asking you to release, unlearn, and to do? What is he asking you to do? What is he asking you to do that you haven't done yet, that you're still running from? So that you are ready and he can release you to your promised land. I feel like some of us are standing at the door of the promised land and there's a lock on the door. And God said, do this one thing and I'm going to unlock the door and you can go. And we haven't moved yet. Or we keep stumbling over the same thing. We keep stumbling over the same thing. You know, what I've realized is that in these past, my mother's been in the hospital on her back for 6 weeks. My mother has not been home for 6 weeks. And what I've realized is that I'm so emotionally invested in this because it's my mother and because I don't want to see her in pain, much less cry, or for her to tell me I'm scared. That breaks my heart. And what I've realized is that with everything else that we have to deal with all the other things that pile on top of what we're already dealing with, for me, what I've realized is that every time something has happened, I react immediately with panic, with anger. I totally blew up on this, on the, what is she, a case manager yesterday. Totally blew up. And it wasn't her fault. And I acknowledged that. I was screaming. And I acknowledged it. And I told her several times. I said, this is not about you. I'm so sorry you're getting the brunt of this. But I am my mother's advocate. And I must advocate on her behalf. And this cannot happen this way. And I'm learning that. And this is a part of embracing my process. That if I'm going to trust God with my mother, her child, or rather his child, if I'm going to trust God with my mother and trust God with her situation, then panic and anger cannot be my first resort. I can't go off because even just as much as the situation justifies it. But see, what happens is we have to take into consideration all the stuff, right? All the stuff that we are dealing with, that we are things that are piling on and piling on and piling on. For many of you, you already know that I've planned 3 funerals, attended 3 funerals, one in December, one in January, one in February. 3 people, my cousins, that I've been very close to all my life. Except for the youngest one who I helped to raise, who was my cousin, but she called me auntie. And then on Sunday, I find out that my stepmother passed away in a very similar situation to what happened with my mom when she left the rehab and had to go back to the hospital. If you don't have a good support system, if you don't have Jesus in your heart, if you don't have Jesus in your heart, and if you don't put everything out on the table for him and say, God, listen, I can't do this alone. I can't do this alone. I need you. And what I'm realizing is that I can't just panic and get, and because I'm emotional and I'm so attached to the fact that this is my mother, I can't go ballistic. Even though the situation deserves it and it's justified. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Auntie Tony. Good morning, Uncle. Thank you for being here. Dr. Lynn, you understand what I'm talking about. Dr. Lynn says this is the emotional mismanagement I'm talking about. Good morning, Miss Vita. Tara says, I can relate. I was going off left and right when my mom first started all this last year. She said, I've had to deal with myself on the same thing. I must trust God with my mom. I don't have her. He has her. I can't respond with anger and frustration through my words. It was tearing me down and not helping her at all. And see, this is why it's so important to talk about things. Thank you for sharing that, Tara, because it lets me know I'm not in this boat by myself, that somebody else out there understands what I'm feeling and what I'm going through. I love my mother. And although my mother is a strong woman, she's very fragile in my heart. And I want to take care of her. And I don't want anything to happen to her. And I don't want her to feel pain. And I don't want anybody to mismanage her. But I have to go through this process. And not only do I have to go through it, not only is God requiring me to go through it, he's telling me you got to embrace this process as well. You got to embrace it. You got to embrace it. I gotta embrace it, which means I gotta half like it. I gotta be okay with it. I have to go through it. You know, so many good things happened since the beginning of the year. I've seen God move, and so many good things have happened. And then when you're smacked, when you're like, wow, God is so amazing. He's so faithful. Oh my gosh, this is everything. Look how God is changing the situation. Everything is good. And then smack in the middle of it all, everything blows up. That doesn't mean God is not faithful anymore. It doesn't mean that God is not still on watch. It doesn't mean that God is not on his throne. It doesn't mean that God has forgotten about us. It doesn't mean that God turned his back and now he's not paying attention to what's going on. It doesn't mean any of that. God does not change. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He does not change. So we can't change. We change to get better and be elevated and get to our next destination. And we change by him transforming us and going through this stuff. But he does not change. As hard as it is to learn You love her, but God loved her first. And God can love her more than I could ever love her. And it's a hard thing to swallow. Dr. Stevie says, last night I just realized that I have been walking in trauma since my daddy passed away. Tara says, no, you're not in this boat by yourself. You and I have different relationships with our mothers, but I will tread down heaven and hell on her behalf. But I was mismanaging my emotions, and it's been a process to get here where I don't freak out immediately anymore. Just keep leaning on God, Andrea, and you will see yourself relax into this process. You're still advocating for mama, just with the Lord's guidance on how to do it effectively and efficiently. I love you. I love you too, Tara. Thank you. I mean, when I tell you I almost blew a gasket yesterday, when they called me and said, we're going to discharge your mother. It was 4:00 in the afternoon. Normally when you discharge that, my experience from the past, even myself, they discharge you 11:00 in the morning, right? That's when they bring the papers. You sign one, give me one for your file, one for the doctor, one for your PCP, right? That's 11:00. You're still laying in your bed. They're still working things out. They're going to get a wheelchair so they can wheel you down because they're not going to let you walk, right? They're doing whatever. And with everything that was going on and everything that has been going on, when they said that to me at 4:00 in the afternoon, they were like, she's ready to go now. Wait, what? What you mean she's ready to go now? You just telling me at 4:00 in the afternoon, I have not had one conversation with the doctor? Wait a second. Pump the brakes. Because I need to first understand what's going on. And then all the conversations that happen. All the conversations, and then hold on, let me call you back. Gotta talk to this one, gotta talk to that one. Wait, let me call you back. Wait, I gotta talk to the doctor. I have to do this, I have to do that. Right? And through all of that, life is still going on. You still have obligations. Still got to pick up my daughter, get her from high school to go to her college class. That's like 30 minutes away from here. All these moving parts. Everything that you're still working on, everything that you're still responsible for, and then your heart is hurting. God says you got to embrace the process. Alignment with God's will is necessary for our divine assignment. Because if I drop you out in the world on your new assignment, on that new level, and then bombs start dropping, what are you going to do? You're going to keep panicking? You're going to keep panicking? I don't know about you, Jamel, but from what I understand, even in my conversation with Farah, who's an OT, she's like, no, discharge usually happens in the morning. They give you time and give your family time, and they usually warn you about it the day before. They usually warn you about it. Now, this lady did tell me that it's coming, but they don't tell you at 4:00. I've never had that experience. They don't tell you at 4:00 and expect for your family to be there. I mean, what? And then I'm like, what you gonna do? Put her in an Uber? Like, I don't understand what's going on right now. Tara says, oh yes, that happened to us too. July 5th, they were like, we're releasing her today, so someone needs to come get her. Wait, what? Like, what? I've never experienced that before. I was like, this is crazy. Alignment with God's will is necessary for our divine assignment. Disruption. There's purpose in the disruption. Can y'all type that in? There's purpose in the disruption. Dr. Lynn said, you are so Bronx. Mike said, not an Uber. Like, this is what I'm thinking in my head. Like, if I don't get there, what are they going to do? They're going to put her on the sidewalk? They're gonna roll her wheelchair out and say, okay, just wait right here. Your mommy's going to come get you? Like, what? Jocelyn says, so true, Tara. Andrea, you've been walking with me and others through our process for years. That's true. That's true. I haven't learned the lesson yet, Jocelyn. They do that when they are past the threshold of when they're getting paid. It's exactly what Farah and I talked about yesterday. It's all about the insurance and the money. A shame. Exactly. And that's what I had to call and talk to them about. I said, this sounds like y'all just trying to get the insurance claims approved so y'all can get paid. No. That is not how we're going to do it today. That is not how we're going to do it today. Farah says, sadly, I've had patients discharged home and have a cab or Uber pick them up. She said, it happens. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. But the thing is, it's not even about my watch, because God is on his throne. Why did all of that happen? What is he trying to teach me? What does he want me to learn? What does he want me to unlearn? What does he want me to release? He wants me to release control to him so that he can handle it. And I can just be his hands and feet. Learn not to panic. Alignment with God's will is necessary for our divine assignment. There's purpose in the disruption. Disruption gives us a chance to get an overdue adjustment, while God brings all the skewed parts of our lives into proper, powerful, and purpose-ready order. Jenny, what you think about that? You believe there's purpose in the disruption, Jenny? We got to think of it like going to the chiropractor. Anybody ever been to the chiropractor? You know, you lay down and they start adjusting your back, right? They start adjusting your back and getting things aligned the way it's supposed to be, the way God intended it to be. In the middle of the discomfort, it's important to remember that higher purpose is always on the other side of process. Tara says, Jenny definitely does. She speaks on it so well. In the middle of the discomfort, in the middle of the discomfort, it's important to remember that higher purpose is always on the other side of process. Higher purpose is on the other side of this process that I'm going through. Higher purpose is on the other side of this process that God is asking me to embrace. Farah says, wow, this is true revelation in real time. God is growing you for all to see. This is how I work. This is how I guide you. She says, powerful show, Andrea. To God be all the glory. But thank you for being an open vessel to receive his guidance and his understanding. Thank you, Farah. God sends his promise by way of a process. He sends his promise by way of a process. What did I miss yesterday? What did I miss? Did I delay me getting to where I'm supposed to be faster because I panicked and because I blew up and because I went ballistic on somebody that did not deserve it? Although, you know what she said that was so sweet, because I told her throughout the whole time, I said, you don't deserve this. And I'm sorry, you are just the messenger. But please know this is not directed to you. If you know what I've been through for the past 6 weeks, especially with my mother and what she's been through. She said, I understand. She said, I understand. She said, if I were you, I would probably react the same way. She said, I understand. She said, this is what she said. That just broke me down. She said, if I could be here to be the sounding board for you in your time of need, then I've done my job. God said, I'm going to send you what you need. So even in the times where you feel like you made a mistake, even in the times when you blow up and you're ballistic and you go off and you act out of character, even in those times, he still sends you exactly what you need. Even when you've mismanaged your emotions, he still gives you what you need. He still gives you what you need. He said, I'm still going to help you. I'm still going to teach you in this moment. He said, I'm still going to tell you the way to go in this moment. And I'm going to tell you the way to get there. And I will give you good counsel. And then he said, and this is all in Psalm 23:8. This was 2 days ago, the devotional we read live 2 days ago. He said, and then I will watch over you. He's still faithful. What are some of the things God is asking you today to release? For me, I've learned in this moment, it's control, that he is in control of the situation, not me. For me, it's not to panic. See, I panicked because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to my mother? How is this going to affect her? How is she going to react to hearing this information? And then when I realized that she said she was scared and she cried and I heard her crying, it's in that moment that I have to say, God, she's your child. You love her more than I ever could. And I love her a whole lot, a whole lot. But I can't panic in this moment. I need to trust you. I need to trust you. I need to trust you. Jenny says, God is a Red Sea parting God, and he will take us safely to the other side. He's in the midst, and he is faithful. That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. God is a Red Sea parting God. God is a Red Sea parting God, and he's going to take us safely to the other side. He's in the midst, and he is faithful. Tara says, I think the beauty was that you noticed it and you acknowledged it. You knew you didn't handle it the best way, but growth still happened. Thank you. Thank you, Tara. Good morning, Elder Tamara. Yes, he is. I just used that story the other day. Wow. Miss Anyela says, I went through the same process for 5 years with my mom, and God wanted me to truly trust him and believe that he was the only one in control of my mom's situation. What are you facing today? What are you walking through today? What does God want you to learn, and what does he want you to unlearn? What is he asking you to release? Release it today. Release it today. What is he asking you to do so you're ready for your promised land? Tara says he is also a Jordan River parting God. Come on, Jenny. Yes. Miss Vita said, yes, God is a Red Sea parting God. That is an awesome analogy. See, I don't want to stay here. I don't want to stay in this situation. I want to get out of this situation. But what am I going to do so that I'm ready for the promised land? What am I going to do? How am I going to handle the next situation? Remember what I read in the beginning that I told you was part of my notes? Remember I told you it's part of my notes? Remember I told you that? We have to be obedient in the wilderness, or else we will stay there longer. I don't want to stay here. But what am I willing to release, unlearn, and do so that I'm ready for my promised land? Lord, help me to see the bigger picture. When the present moment is challenging my faith, help me to see the bigger picture. I lay down my plans for your process and your purpose. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. Our purpose, more provision, more healing, and even more miracles are on the other side of this process. The gap is your wilderness between Egypt, what you've known, and the promised land, what you've been praying for and what you are destined for. What we're moving toward is not necessarily a big house, more money, less stress, or better relationships. Although I have no doubt that everything is better on the other side of surrender, God doesn't leave our heart's desires behind as he ushers us into our destiny. But this isn't about stuff. It's about exchanging your current plans for your life. It's about exchanging your current plans for the life God is calling you toward. Are you willing to exchange your plans for God's? Are you willing? Tell me, are you willing? Are you willing to exchange your plans for God? Or are we like or are we like, okay, God, here's my plans. Here, God, here's my plans, God. Like we're saying, here, God, here's my plans, and this is God's hands, and he's about to grab it, and we just snatch it back. Here it is. Here, God, here's my plans. And we snatch it back. We keep snatching it back. We keep snatching it back. We say we want to give him our plans, but are we really ready to give them up? Are we really ready to give them up, close our eyes and give it to him and just say, whatever happens next, I know that I can face tomorrow because tomorrow is in your hands? Lord, help me to see the bigger picture when the present moment is challenging my faith. I lay down my plans for your process and your purpose. Lord, help me to embrace the process. Help me to trust you through it all. You know that song, Through It All? I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to trust in God. I wish I had somebody that would sing that song for me this morning. I wish I had somebody that just come on and sing that song for me this morning. Through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to trust in God. Through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to trust in God. We got to embrace the process, y'all. We got to embrace the process. First Peter 1:7 says, these trials will show you that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold. Through your faith, though your faith is far more precious than mere gold. So when your faith remains strong through many trials, it will bring you much praise and glory and honor on the day when Jesus Christ is revealed to the whole world. Jenny says, the Lord rescued us out of Egypt and is purging all the familiar ways of Egypt out of us in preparation for our promised land. He is a gentle, powerful, and wonderful shepherd. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. I see you say my name, Tara. I don't know if you're trying to bring my attention to something, but I can't see it. I can't see it if you are. Tara says you're going to handle it with grace and tact because you are learning new ways to handle it. Thank you, Lord. Miss Latanya says I am willing to. Why? Because my plans are not working and haven't been working. So I am ready to embrace God's process. I'm ready to embrace God's process. When he brings us to the end of his road, and to the end of our road, when we're at the end of our road, he's there, loving, patient, exuding grace, handing out mercy, favor, blessings, love, peace, provision, protection. He never turns his back on us, even when we make mistakes. Gotcha. Even when we make mistakes. Ms. Vita said Jenny is on target. She almost always is. Whew. Thank you, Lord. Help us to embrace our process, Lord. Help us to see the bigger picture, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for never letting us go. Thank you for keeping us. Thank you for keeping my mother. Thank you for preserving her life. Thank you for giving her what she needs to fight through this. And that you are there with her. And that you love her more than I ever could. Thank you. Thank you. I love you guys. I'll see you Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here. Jenny says, Andrea, you are a beautiful vessel of honor in the Father's hands. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. I don't know if you would have said that yesterday when I was on the phone with the lady, but thank you. Love you. Love you. Love you. Love you all. Thank you. Whew. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful weekend. For those of you that are walking with us at 12 o'clock, please be in the Zoom room at 12 o'clock. We missed some of y'all yesterday. We had a new person come on yesterday. And I was like, it's never empty like this. We always got a lot of people in here. What is going on? Gordon is like, where's everybody? And then everybody started coming in much later. But we'll see you at 12 o'clock. All right. And then I will see you Monday morning. We'll be back here Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mwah, 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 mwah. Woo. Thank you, Miss Anyala. Thank you. Oh, thank you, guys. Oh, B. Jules said this has been a blessing. Thank you. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. All right.